Hello everyone, I am the Normal Exile, and in today's video we're going to be doing kind of a final build update. I'm going to leave you guys with some options on how to improve the character beyond where I am, but right now I'm basically just farming currency, looking to make my second character. We're 3 out of the 7 div cards away. We do have replica Maloney's mechanism, so we're getting pretty close. I haven't leveled the character or anything like that. I kind of want that to be its own separate adventure, but let's get into it. Alright, here we are in game, and the first thing I wanted to talk about is the skill gems. Now, if you have a bunch of money, obviously you could either go buy or farm yourself the alternate quality gems. I do have a handful of them, but they're not super available. At least in hardcore, you could obviously farm them yourself. So I won't go too deep on that. The ones I do have is going to be Anomalous Fire Penetration and Divergent Onslaught. Those are probably the best ones because Anomalous Fire Penetration does give you that increased burning damage, which is really nice for the clear. Divergent Onslaught does give you increased cast speed, which is really nice. Before our main links here, we do have Volatile Dead, Life Tap, Immolate, Anomalous Fire Penetration, Divergent Onslaught, and Combustion. That's going to be the best setup that I've found for this build, because we are focused on lowering enemies' fire resist and just juicing up that cast speed as much as possible. So that's our primary damage link. Our supporting damage link is going to be Unearth, a low-level Arcane Surge, whatever your mana cost can support on that, lesser multiple projectiles, and Unleash. Next up is our curse setup. We do have Bane linked to Hex Bloom, Flammability, and Punishment. We're utilizing Bane 1 for 2 curses, and 2 because Bane only costs 26 mana, whereas Flammability costs 67 and Punishment costs 44. We only have 71 mana unreserved, and we're already using Life Tap on our Volatile Dead. We just don't have the mana to sustain a multi-cast setup. Obviously, you could get like a Curse on Hit Ring or something like that, and just completely not even have to worry about Bane at all. You could definitely do a completely different setup if you're lucky enough or have the money for a Curse on Hit Ring. But that's what I did. It keeps cracking me up because the character's name is 2 mini buttons, but really the build can't help but being like a 3-button build. So it's kind of funny in that regard. But that's going to be our curse setup with Bane and why we chose to use Bane. For our golems, we do have Flame Golem and Lightning Golem linked to Meat Shield. We do have our Summon Chaos Golem. Now this is really, really important. You could get a +1 all, or you could get a +1 minion skills somewhere else. For me, I decided to put this in this unset ring with +1 to level of socketed gems, because a level 22 Chaos Golem does hit that breakpoint of going from 4% to 5% additional physical damage reduction, which with the amount of buff effect we're getting from our golems does give us an additional 5%, for a total of 20% physical damage reduction from just this one gem. Very important to have that at level 22. So again, you could get that plus level from an amulet, from a wand, from a helmet, whatever you end up doing there. Just make sure you hit that because it's really important for survivability. Then we have Stone Golem, Molten Shell, and Frostblink. These are just kind of our accessory leftover stuffs. And then in the helmet we have Portal, Determination, Grace, and Herald of Ash. If you wanted more DPS, you could take out Portal and put in a Blood Rage gem. I am extremely tempted to do that, but I just enjoy having Portal so much, and the damage has been just fine without that. So that's going to be the gem links. We're going to talk about the gear. So in terms of the gear, there's this kind of push-pull that occurs between how much spell suppression you get on the tree and how much spell suppression you get on your gear. So just know this. You pretty much have to have 100% spell suppression. There's real no way to work around it. Yes, we do have Primal Aegis, which is really good for taking those consistent hits, or those bigger hits, rather. But, yeah, you just have to have 100% spell suppression. There's no real way around it. How we went ahead and did that was we went ahead and got 15% on our shield. We got the 23% on our helmet. And then we do not have it anywhere else, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so those are the only 2 places on our gear. It's going to be our shield and our helmet. We do combo that with the full inveterate wheel, these 3 reflex nodes here, and then we do have a cluster jewel elegant form, which gives us 12% there as well. So that helps us cap our spell suppression there, which is really, really important. Next thing up is the elemental ailment avoid. So we have the 33% chance to avoid ailments here. We have the 20% chance to avoid ailments there. The 12% on the thick skin cluster here. And then we are also using the 25% from Arcane Sanctuary. So that's going to leave us at 110% there. We do also, because we purchased this here with the 42% chance to avoid bleeding, we did go ahead and take the extra 20% here in order to get 100% bleed avoidance. We have this 20% here. We have this 25% here for a chance to avoid being stunned. That comboed with this 20% that we have anointed on our amulet does allow us to get 100% stun avoidance as well. So basically we've got stun avoidance, bleed avoidance, all of the elemental ailment avoidances are all capped. Spell suppression is capped. And with our physical damage reduction from our stone golem and the determination and grace, coupled with a full evasion gear setup and iron reflexes, we are sitting at 57,000 armor, which does allow us to get those nice 10k molten shells, which is really nice. We do get an additional, what is that, 30, 40, 50% armor and evasion, which is basically 100% armor, while we have onslaught, which is basically all the time. And then we get another 27% evasion while we're moving. So we do end up getting a lot of armor and evasion, huge amount. I think with everything up, it does get almost to 70,000 with onslaught up and all that sort of stuff. So really, really strong there. A lot of physical damage mitigation. So between the shield and the helmet, that's where we get our suppress and our Elia void. On basically everything else, we're looking to fill in life, resists, cast speed where you can find it, damage where you can find it. This amulet is basically life, resist, spell damage, area of effect, and area damage. This ring is a bunch of strength, cast speed, life, mana, and resist. This is just life, mana, resist with some good cast speed on it. Chest piece is just life and resist. Boots are life, resist, and move speed. Life, resist. Pretty much the only super important thing that you need to hit if you're going to play this version of the build is you have to get fire exposure on hit on your gloves. Until you do that, you either need to invest a whole bunch into mana, because basically our only mana sustain is Mastermind of Discord, or you have to use some sort of exposure. Previously, before I was using Bane, I was using Wave of Conviction to apply exposure, but it was really, 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 really clunky, because anytime that regen from Mastermind of Discord fell off, your mana was going away, you couldn't cast your Unearth, and then you'd be walking around in circles waiting for your mana to regen, which at the moment we've got like 20. Which is really terrible. Really, really terrible. Some notable things that you could improve: you could get a +1 on your amulet, you could get a +1 on your wand. That would be really excellent there. You could get some real Eldritch Implicits. The increased effect of the buff granted by your Lightning Golem is cool. It's like 3% cast speed, which is fine, but not that great. The extra Fizz as fire is basically useless. For this one, the fire exposure is good, but you could obviously have a higher tier. The fire damage over time multiplier is fine, nothing too crazy there. Cool, so that's going to cover the gear, and then last we will go into the skill tree, some of the kind of required notables, some of the highly encouraged notables, and some of the stuff that you guys can just, play around with, feel it out, see how it feels. So one thing I've bounced back and forth on is Firewalker. Firewalker is actually just really good, especially because we do really want this spell damage and cast speed from Arcanist Dominion. So it's an easy 2-pointer, really, really nice. Synergizes pretty well with Bastion of Elements for that extra 75 on the shield there. Golem Commander, now you could anoint this if you wanted to. For me, the 3 travel points was fine for that. The only other thing, you know, you'd really want to anoint, there's a couple things that would be good to anoint. Like previously I had Instinct. Instinct was really good back when I had more energy shield, but now I do not. And especially with Elevore, it's kind of just super overkill. You could anoint Whispers of Doom if you're just loaded with cash and can afford 3 golden oils, or if you're a Blight farmer. Either one, that's perfectly fine for you. Excellent. Undertaker is extremely good. Plus 2 corpses allowed for Unearth. That's what allows us to use Unleash and maximize that. It does also give you 60% increased damage if you've consumed a corpse recently, which is basically always, or it should be if you're playing the build. The Tolerance cluster here, this one is primarily for Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you. Is actually giving us our stun and bleed avoidance, so that actually turned out to be a really, really good pickup. Previously, I was going to spec out of that and spec path through this area here, but between that being really, really high value with this jewel down here that I mentioned earlier, and the 3 notables passing through here instead of 1 passing through here, synergized with Bastion of Elements again. It was just nice to pass through here. Damage and crit chance, life and strength, you know, cast speed, all stuff that's really, really valuable. Pathing over here. Now, I did just recently pick up Revenge of the Hunted after I ended up speccing out of these 2 nodes and these 2 nodes here. I'm not totally sold on it. It was just the closest thing I could find that had life on it in a good enough number. I do think ultimately I probably would spec out of it for Herbalism maybe. I'm not totally sure there. The evasion's actually pretty nice, so I might just leave that. But that remains to be seen. Inveterate is an absolute must. 3% additional prevented spell damage. You would want the Mastery for that as well. 3% additional suppressed spell damage would be really nice. You'd probably want to pick that up. That's probably going to be my next skill point. I'm reasonably sure, but I always change my mind on stuff like that. This build is extremely in flux. There's constantly things moving and shaking. I've reworked the tree like 35 times, trying to min-max everything. That way I could make this video for you guys. So I just want to take a moment real quick. If you are liking the video, if you could please leave a like, comment any questions you have. I will be linking a POB in the description. And if you want future content like this, if you want to see the next character coming up, which is going to be a Voltaxic Rift Divine Ire build, it's going to be pretty savage. Don't forget to subscribe for that future content. So continuing on, so I have flipped back and forth on Graceful Assault. Ultimately, because we do have Onslaught spec'd into our gem links, this is actually really, really good. The increased effect of Onslaught is really good. The increased armor and evasion during Onslaught is really, really good. So ultimately, I think I am going to keep it. I may or may not get Courage. I probably won't, just because we do already have like a whole bunch of armor. I kind of want to get Disciple of the Slaughter instead for some additional damage while we're mapping and stuff like that, which would be cool. And then the only cluster jewel we're using, we do have a medium cluster jewel with Fan the Flames. Brood for potency is kind of whatever, not really that great. I'll probably still pick it up just because it's a nice 1-pointer for our Bastion of Elements, and 24% damage over time is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I can't remember what the other notables in the burning damage cluster are, but there are a couple that are just way better. So you'd probably want to pick up something better than that. This was just all I could find for cheap. And then the second one is going to be just a small chance to suppress cluster, which we are using Elegant Form, which is both going to help us cap our suppress and also help us cap our elemental ailment to void, which is really, really important. Before somebody rips on me about this in the POB, I did just change. You know what? I'm actually just going to change this right now because I can hear it now. Somebody commenting, "Hey noob, you've got 100% increased armor on your shield, and you're not using armor on your shield." So we'll just do gain percent evasion as armor. That way nobody bags on me about that. No big deal. And then the last couple things here, adamant, which is really good because we are juicing up our molten shell quite a bit. Cloth and chain actually was helping us cap our resist for a really long time, but is just a really high value cluster with the armor and evasion there. And then the 5% of evasion, we went from 57... I'm curious. How much is this giving us? 56,433. Alright, so it's giving us like 2,000 armor. Which is, wait, is this actually giving us armor? Hold on a second. Increased armor from equipped shield. Oh, that does give us armor. What? What? That makes absolutely no sense, but I will take it. That's actually more. Interesting. Well, I'm really glad I checked that. Now you guys don't have to waste 2 regret orbs. Yeah, so Adamant's really good for helping to juice up our Molten Shell. Cloth and Chain is just really good in general. And Golem's Blood is good for the life and the regen. We do have the life and reduced life cost masteries. I really want nearby enemies have reduced life regeneration rate. But so far, I haven't been able to make it to a life cluster. That's kind of why I wanted to spec out of the Revenge of the Hunted and get Herbalism, so we could get that mastery. I might just get Hired Killer or something like that. I'm not sure, but a lot of these enemies with the regen and the later maps are just absolutely insane. So, that's going to be it for the video. Now, we do have a clip of me killing the Black Star for the very first time. I know that it was not very good. I know that I played kind of scared, but it was my first time doing the fight, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, noob, you know, that's just the quest line version of it, you know, fight it on the real version, but we're getting there. This is the first time I've had a character get, like, decently into red maps, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm pretty stoked about the build in general. So, I just want to say thank you to everyone that watched this, and if you do end up sticking around for that fight, I already know it was bad, so thank you, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye! Alright, so this is going to be our first attempt at the Polaric Invitation. Oh, man.
When I'm ready.
Maven, the challenge begins. Your champion will fall.
Atlas, mine.
Simulacrum. Starflare. Deep space. Starflare. Starflare. Solar Storm. Replica. Deep space. Starflare. Astral Avalanche.
Now we're just not even going to deal with that. We're just... I'm probably fine. Probably fine. Oh! Oh, that's scary. Okay.
Deep space. Solar Storm. Deep space. Starflare. Astral Avalanche.
Ah! I think we got one of them almost down, though. I think one of them's almost down. Oh, I'm like shaking. This is crazy. I feel like I could definitely... It's just when I watched the video of the dude dodging the Astral Avalanche, I was like, how does he know which side it comes from? Oh!
Simulacrum. Starflare. Solar Storm. Starflare. Astral Avalanche.
Oh! Ah! Okay, okay.
Starflare. Solar Storm.
Oh, it's broken down. Oh no. Ooh.
Starflare. Deep Space. Astral Avalanche.
Ah! That was terrible. Oh my god. Oh. Wow, that was so bad. I'm surprised I didn't. That's crazy.
Replica. Deep Space. Starflare. Solar Storm. Starflare. Deep Space. Astral Avalanche.
When I'm ready, I'm not.
Ah, dang it, I'm not gonna make it. Only got 2 portals left. I can't even tell how much damage I'm doing to them.
Simulacrum. Deep Space. Starflare. Solar Storm. Astral Avalanche.
Nah, I guess I just don't understand. Maybe when you leave the fight, it resets their life. That wouldn't be fair though. That's not very cool. Ooh.
Deep Space. Starflare. Solar Storm.
Oh no, I lost another one.
Starflare. Deep Space. Astral Avalanche.
I need more mana.
Come on. Okay, there's one of them.
Starflare. Deep Space.
There's a second one.
Replica. Solar Storm. The dark
Yes.
fade.
Yes.
Shining
Yes.
violence.
Nice.